I'm at the site of a place called Old Basin House, which was originally a motte and bailey castle. This is the bailey, there's the motte, but it was also very, very famous for being in a siege in the English Civil War. If you look on LiDAR, you can see where they've done, they built siege works. Not siege works, what's the word for them? Cannon emplacements, let's call them. They used to build these things for cannons to be able to sit on, so that they're normally sort of in a triangular form, so that you can sit a cannon on it, and then you can move a cannon left and right and sweep it one way or another. To cover both sides of the castle. There's a cannon up there on a embrasure. Is that what they call them? Ah, we got a little map here. Maybe this will show us something. Ah, yes, these basically these things here. And that's where you put your cannon on there, and then it can fire that way, or it can fire this way. And I think where that cannon is up there, that is actually on one. I think that cannon is there, because that's where we came over the bridge, or it might be here. Maybe it should be further over. That's the walled garden there. It was part of a big house, and this was held for quite some time in a massive siege, being attacked several times. And it actually, in the centre here, that was a very, very large house built, a Tudor house. Oh, there's a nice little viewing platform over that side. I think we'll wander over there in a minute. But as you can see, this is at the motte, and this is a very, very large motte. There's towers on that side, a tower on that side. Hello there, Crow. Hope Brandon Lee's not about. Only certain people will get that. You can see how they've sort of... Don't want to walk into that. You can see how they've sort of built into the side of the motte. Don't know whether they actually dug down into the motte or not to do that. Well, that looks deep. And I certainly can't see the bottom. So that would be down to the water level. And what would this be? Another one? Kitchens, prison, and a tomb. Thing is, they didn't really do prisons in the medieval period. People weren't normally necessarily locked up for crimes. I think you used to be able to go down there, but maybe they've blocked that off. Yeah, they didn't really do prisons for crimes. People would be locked away. You'd pretty much be locked away for ever. Maybe in something called an oubliette, which is French, I think, for forget. So basically they'd lob you in a hole and they'd forget about you, and that would be that. Pretty nasty, I know. You could get down that bit, but you can't anymore. Hopefully we'll be able to get up and look on that platform. Sadly, a lot of this is down to things like money I mean, the kids are off today. I think they're off for 6 weeks again. This must be their second week. So I'm surprised there's not a few more people here. It almost looked like they had a wedding. I think that's what they used the big barn for. This would have had a garrison of quite a few people. Lots and lots and lots of food stored in here, lots of munitions, gunpowder and lead shot, etc. Take some photos and carry on with the video in a minute. Noisy bird. This is the ditch around the motte. Obviously it's heavily overgrown, but this kind of highlights the idea of a motte and how difficult it would have been for you to get into the motte and attack the people in there. You'd have been up there, and then you'd have had to have come down here, and then you'd have had to have gone up there. Now obviously that would have just been grass. They may have put spikes in it, they may have put bits of rope, they may have let brambles grow, because clearly you're not going to get through brambles. It may have just been grass. But you'd have had to have tried to get from up there down to here. I mean, it's a bit lower there. But again, I've said this before, I'm wearing walking boots. I mean, I did go to Bramber Castle the other day and slip when I was going down a steep bit of the moat. Even though there's signs saying it's a bit steep, don't walk down here. Obviously, pretending to be a 12-year-old. Oh, here we go. But I find it easier with these something for my sister, fairies. I find it relatively easy with these boots on I've got. In the medieval period they'd have been wearing flat-soled leather shoes, and they'd have been wearing Lost Tudor Tower. They'd have been wearing, yes, leather-soled shoes. They'd have been wearing some sort of armour, possibly mail. There's a cannon there. That's Basingstoke over that side. There is another castle that I just went to, another Motte and Bailey, over that way I think it is, called Cromwell's Battery. It was a Motte and Bailey castle. It may have had something to do with this place, on the siege of it. In fact, that's exactly the same picture they've used over there. But anyway, going off on a tangent there. Yeah, so it was yeah, so you'd have been wearing armour, and you'd have been carrying a shield probably, depending on the time period. Shields went out of fashion once plate came in, but you'd have been wearing a helmet, possibly a shield, as I said. You'd have had a spear or a sword, an axe, something pretty heavy, and you'd have been trying to get up the up that motte up to here. And up here, the people wouldn't have been sort of cheering you on and saying, come on, you can do it. There's a red kite there. They'd have been throwing things at you. Rocks, stones, spears, javelins. And they'd have been shooting bows and arrows. Well, they wouldn't have been shooting bows, they'd have been shooting arrows out of bows and crossbow bolts. So it wouldn't have been very easy to get up here. Yeah, I was just up there looking into what I described as a motte, but I just read there it says ringwork. That does actually work more because it is massive and it does look more like a ringwork. So we're outside here, and this part here is where the cannons would have been, on that bit there, sticking out, so that you could, anyone's trying to come down here and try and get over this ditch, although ditch isn't very deep, or moat, call it a ditch, moat, whatever you want to call it. It's not that deep. It probably would have been a bit deeper and a little bit sharper, but if you've got a cannon there and people are attacking along here, you can easily turn the cannons to the side, shoot down here, or you can turn them the other way and shoot down that way. And obviously you've got more cannons down on this side, and you can shoot down this side into the side of troops. It's not like the films where you see cannons exploding. That's much, much later, where they put gunpowder into cannons. In them days, the cannons, sometimes a bit earlier, they were made of stone. A bit later, they would be made of, they'd also be made of solid metal. Then they were made of hollow metal with explosives in them, and that's when they would explode. But most of the time they would just hit the ground, bounce, and they would bounce through people. Oh, there's a bloke on London dashcams who's always said that there's always these Korean people on Westminster Bridge taking wedding photos. That's pretty much what it looks like we've got here. I'm not saying they're Korean, but they are from that part of the world. But yeah, this cannon here, you could swing it to the right to shoot down there, or you could swing it to the left to shoot along there. And then that one over there, you'd be shooting down. So the cannonballs, they'd be hitting the ground. The more solid the ground, the further they would bounce. Soft ground, they're likely to stick in. Well, that doesn't sound very good over there. Thunder and lightning. I'm not wearing a coat, but never mind. Yeah, the cannonball would bounce, shoot through the air, and it would tear through human bodies. Doesn't matter whether you're wearing armour or not. Your armour might stop it, but you'd be like a jelly paste inside what would be left of you. Oh, there's another one of those little fairy houses. I think that's the museum to my left, or some sort of pottery shed. And there, if people were in there, you wouldn't be able to get in very easily. And there we go, we've pretty much walked around the ringwork, and that's the bailey. They've not a very large bailey. Normally the motte would be probably small-ish and slender, and the bailey would be a large outer area where people would live. There'd be buildings. The motte was basically somewhere where you would escape to. You could probably build a bailey on later. Oh, it's starting to rain. I think I'm going to head back, finish the video there,